Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be, could you have held on any longer? Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So when I say held on to any longer, I'm referring to the narcissistic cycle that you were part of. Could you have done more? Should you have done more? What happens if you didn't do A, B, and C? Would you still be in the relationship, etc.? These questions come up so frequently when I'm having one-on-one sessions with people because they wonder, did they do enough? Was it their fault? Can the narcissist change, etc.? Answering these questions and so many more during this video, digging in right now, could you have held on any longer? Yeah, you probably could have. Maybe a few more minutes, maybe a couple days longer, maybe weeks, maybe a couple months. Who knows? Maybe you could have held on another year or two. Point being is every minute you were in that toxic, draining, narcissistic relationship, your resources were becoming depleted. Your health was taking a hit, your finances, your status, your clarity, your mindset, your relationships, your hobbies, everything was taking a hit. So could you have held on a little bit longer? Possibly. One will never know. What I do know, and I can tell you, is that you are out of the relationship, and that's a good thing. Being in the relationship, you didn't know where you were. You were placed in that narcissistic fog. You were existing in the devaluation stage. You were treading water in the trauma bond. And all of these things, you didn't even know where you were. You didn't know what the definitions were in the glossary in the narcissistic abusive cycle. You thought you were in a relationship where you were taking responsibility for the decline of the relationship because that's what you were doing. Essentially, the narcissist was blaming you for anything they could blame you for. And you were taking on the weight of that relationship. And that weight became more and more cumbersome over time. When you first met the narcissist, most likely they were wearing a mask. They were manipulating you. They were assimilating themselves with you, telling you, yes, I like to do this, this, and this too. And yes, I'd like to get married and have a family. And yes, we can relocate and start a business and do all these things. They promised you the sun, the moon, and the stars and everything in between. And you fell for the mask. You believed in it. When you met the narcissist, most likely you were vulnerable. Maybe you had just graduated university. Maybe you just relocated halfway around the country or world. Maybe you started a new business. Maybe you just moved into a new neighborhood. Who knows what you did? You joined a hobby group or community. Whatever you did, you were vulnerable most likely. And the narcissist was watching you from afar. And yes, they were watching you up close. They were figuring out what would make you tick. And they got really, really close to you and assimilated themselves with you. Essentially, they were a wolf in sheep's clothing. And what they wanted to do was get you to become hooked on them when they cannot ever get attached to anybody. Remember, the narcissist cannot love. They have no empathy. There's nothing to these people. They are robots. They're robotic-like. They just mimic back to other people and regurgitate other people's words, notions, mindsets, thoughts, and patterns. This is why every time you would communicate with a narcissist, if you would ask them something that they weren't prepared for, and perhaps you would call them out or say something, they would either give you the silent treatment or blow up on you because they didn't know how to respond or react to you. Flip it. If the narcissist knew that they were going to see you at a certain period of time, a certain day or something, well, they could prepare for you and they could prepare for the mask and what they would do with you. But when you caught them off guard, which usually you would do, but you didn't even realize it, they weren't prepared for it. They didn't know what to do because they didn't have that little script running around how to give you the answers to whatever questions you were asking them. So what would they do? They would just rage fit on you or give you the silent treatment, etc. But could you have held on any longer? Yeah, you probably could have. But remember, being in a narcissistic relationship is the last relationship known to humankind that you want to be a part of, because these are one-way tickets to Destructionsville. They only benefit one person, and that person is the narcissist. These relationships have never benefited you, no matter what you thought. Did you have good times with the narcissist? I'm sure you did. Did you have great times? Absolutely. In between, what did you have? Well, you had gaslighting, you had the smear campaign, you had triangulation, my least favorite thing these people do. You had rage fits, you had mirroring, projection, you had verbal abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, perhaps even physical abuse. And all the while when you're in that relationship, because you kept on turning a blind eye or making excuses for the narcissist or not trusting your instincts or intuition, you would just say, okay, well, I guess that's the way that is, and tomorrow is a new day, and let's see if the narcissist, again, you didn't know they were a narcissist, let's see if they're in a better mood. You kept on giving to a fault. And the reason you were doing that, it's not only because probably you are an empath, but it's because you were in a place you didn't even know existed. You fell into the web of manipulation. You were in the deep end of destruction, the cesspool of toxicity. This is where the narcissist wanted to keep you placed. And this is where you were existing for the length of that relationship. You weren't taught Narcissism 101 in school, so you didn't know what you were up against. What you did know is that you were blaming yourself for all the poor behaviors of the narcissist. You were putting out the fires that they were starting intentionally, and you kept on giving to a fault. Maybe you were a people pleaser. Maybe you didn't have the ability to say no, the strongest word in the English language back then. I can assure you, you didn't have boundaries. And what you were doing is what the narcissist wanted you to do, when they wanted you to do it, and with whom they wanted you to do it. The narcissist played so many games when you were in that relationship with them. They played the texting games, the waiting games, the financial abuse games, the triangulation games, the smear campaign games, the ghosting games. They did anything they possibly could to push you to the brink, to perhaps maybe eventually you would experience reactive abuse. Now, if you did, you know what I'm talking about. That's not a good side of you. But then again, you were pushed so far and for so long that eventually something snapped. You put up a boundary and perhaps you did experience reactive abuse. And that was the catalyst which catapulted you out of the relationship, if you were discarded or if you ended it yourself. But either way, you reached the threshold of abuse. You couldn't tolerate it any longer. And that's what so many of us have experienced. And that is what the narcissist was waiting for. They were waiting to see you snap. They were waiting to see you break. They were waiting to see if you were strong enough to stand up to them. And when they did this, they knew what they were doing. Bear in mind, the narcissist puts their clothes on the exact same way you do. They breathe the same air. But they knew what they were doing. They were pressing on that gas pedal of abuse. They were seeing how long you would tolerate their poor behavior. And while they were doing all of these things and so many other things, they were grooming or looking for your replacement behind the scenes. Now, your replacement is the new supply. This person could be somebody you know, maybe it's somebody you don't know, but the new supply is who you once were. And this is the challenging part of the narcissistic relationship. Remember, the narcissist doesn't have love or empathy inside of them. They discard people and they crumble them up like a sheet of paper and throw them away in the freeway after they get whatever they want from them. And what do they want from them? Well, it could be a house, it could be a roof, it could be money, it could be time, it could be access to certain communities. It could be you being in a environment where you regulate them, meaning you could be a sounding board. There are so many different reasons why the narcissist keeps people around, but what they usually do is they keep enablers around, flying monkeys around, and grade A sources of supply, which was you. Now again, I don't look at human beings as supply, but that's the term that is used. That's what the narcissist, that's how they look at people, as supply sources. For me, supply is like when you run out of Wipes or Kleenex or paper towels, etc. You need to get more supply. But that's not what the narcissist looks at. They look at people as supply. And that is why they can just drop in a relationship on a dime. They can act as if that relationship never even existed. They can pack up their gear and ghost and disappear and discard people like that, because they will go any which way the wind blows. The narcissist always believes the grass is always greener on the other side. And that's what they believed when they met you. And for a period of time, it was greener compared to the relationship they were in before they met you. But then again, like each and every narcissistic relationship, we now know they all have an expiration date, and yours was no different. So it didn't matter what you did. You could have had all the money in the world. You could have been the most beautiful person on the planet. You could have had the highest level of empathy or consideration or compassion or caring, but it didn't matter, because the narcissist looked at you in disdain. They looked at you in disgust. They looked at you and questioned you. How could you exist? How could you keep on staying in that relationship day after day, week after week, month after month, etc., tolerating their poor behavior? And the more poor behavior you would tolerate, the more disdain they had for you, because they were wanting and waiting to break that relationship. Now again, people sometimes, when I say that the narcissist wanted to break the relationship, they can't wrap their head around it. Why would somebody want to do that? Well, if they can do it, then they get to discard somebody and crush them and destroy their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations, their belief in humanity, their belief in love, their belief in kindness and empathy, etc. You see, the narcissist is a dark energy source. You are a beautiful, bright, shining light. You are higher than the sun, the moon, and the stars, and the narcissist wanted to, and they achieved capturing you for a period of time, which was the length of that relationship. And they wanted to trade places with you. They wanted you existing in that low vibrational quagmire state where they exist, and they wanted to steal your beautiful, bright, shining light and your positive energy, which is higher than the sun, the moon, and the stars. And they achieved that for a period of time. And when they discarded you, if they did, again, my heart goes out to you, or if you ended it yourself, either way, what happened? Well, they went on to the new supplier. They went on to something that they believed was better, and they thought they finished you off. They didn't think you would exist. They thought they would steal your soul, your energy, your humanity, your physical being. They thought they'd taken everything from you, but that's not what happened, because you're here. you're in the community, you're getting your cup full or topping your cup off, and you understand now that you are the priority. You come first, second, and third, and that there is no room for toxicity in your life any longer. And at the top of the toxicity list certainly is the narcissist. Now, this is why we now have boundaries. This is why we can say no, the strongest word in the English language, etc. And I want to share this. Could you have stayed in the relationship any longer? Yeah, you probably could have. But then again, you can't control what you can't control. And when I say that, meaning, frequently in videos, I say control what you can't control. That's the path. That's what we do post-narcissistic relationship. When you're in the relationship, you can't control what you can't control. And what that means is you can't control what the narcissist was doing to you. All the abuse they were dishing out, all the eggshells you were walking on, all the silent treatment you experienced, all the nights you slept on the couch, all the slammed cupboards and cabinets, all the broken dishes, all the slammed doors, all the verbal abuse you experienced, all the sleepless nights you experienced, all the toxicity left, right, and center that you were enduring, all the game faces you would put on when you would go to barbecues or holidays or events thinking that you were in a stable, healthy relationship, knowing that something was wrong in the back of your mind, but yet you had to put your game face on because you didn't know what you were up against. It was in the trauma bond where you were existing. This is a place you did not even know existed, but that's where you found yourself. And so the narcissist was watching you from the minute they met you until the discard, and many times even afterwards by spying on you via social media, etc. But they were watching you, and they were watching your health decline, your bank account go to zero, your relationships being blown up, your lack of interest in your hobbies, your lack of interest in being yourself, because the narcissist had you become an extension of them. They had you lose your identity and you became a shell of yourself. You became what I call the walking apology, which is a person who apologizes for doing anything, and I mean anything, to keep the peace in the narcissistic relationship. You were the sounding board, the person who regulated the narcissist, who was there to let them vent, and you would endure all their toxicity. And then you were also the unpaid helper. The unpaid helper is a person whose bank account is getting drained left, right, and center. But not only that, they are cooking, cleaning, paying the bills, doing laundry, picking up people, dropping people off, putting gas in cars, straightening up, doing anything they possibly can to appease the narcissist, because this is what the narcissist demanded. But when this all goes away, and it goes away like that, once the discard happens or when you end it yourself, then there's a huge void, and that void must be filled by you, for you, and to benefit you. This is a pivotal part of the healing path. It's a pivotal part of your journey. It was certainly a pivotal part of my journey. And this is when you really need to slow your life down and stay in that cocoon of boundaries and insulate and protect yourself and realize what you were up against, the behemoth, the juggernaut, the narcissistic relationship. So yes, could you have stayed in it longer? Yeah, you probably could have. Would it have benefited you? No. Was that relationship going to end eventually? Yes, it was. Is there anything more you could have done for the narcissist? Perhaps, maybe, but like I shared earlier in the video, it would have never been enough. It didn't matter what you did. The narcissist was going to devalue you. They were going to continue to press on the gas pedal of abuse and invalidate you in anything that ever mattered to you, because the narcissist is envious, they're jealous, they're hollow, they're shallow. There's nothing to these people. They just want to have the loudest voice in the room and abuse as many people as they can and then go on to new people. This is how the narcissist regulates himself. This is why these relationships, they're one-way tickets to Destructionsville. So could you have stayed in the relationship longer? Yeah, you probably could have. But now that you know what narcissism is, and now that you have the wisdom and you're applying the tools that I provide for you here on the channel and in the community, and with so many other people's wisdom from their life experiences, you should not want to be in the relationship. You should not want to be anywhere near the narcissist. That's why I suggest in virtually every video I create to go no contact. Block these people, delete them, remove them and all flying monkeys and people associated with them. If you can't do that, utilize gray rock. Simply become dull and boring, but get off the radar of the narcissist. The narcissist can't change. They can't introspect. They can't grow. They can't ascend or elevate. All they can do is change the mask they wear to manipulate other unsuspecting people or recycled people, people that haven't healed or figured out what the trauma bond is, or that they're giving their energy away to a toxic person who just wants them down for the count. But that's not you. You see, you are one of the fortunate people. You understand how debilitating that relationship was, and you want nothing to do with not only the narcissist, but any future toxic person that potentially you could meet in your life. This is why, yes, could you have stayed in it longer? Perhaps. Would it have benefited you? No. Was the relationship going to end? Yes, it was. Did it end when it was supposed to end? Absolutely. Now, why I say that is because there's no such thing as a coincidence on this planet. I am meant to be sitting here in this patch of lush evergreen, creating this video right now, as you are supposed to be consuming it. You could be consuming it as you're going to bed, when you're waking up. You could be at work. You could be at the beach. You could be in an airplane or on an airplane, on a bus. You could be in your car. You could be anywhere, but you're meant to be consuming this video right here, right now. If you weren't meant to be consuming this, you'd be somewhere else, but you're not. Just like I'm creating this, you're here with me. And that's a good thing, because getting the wisdom and getting your cup full and understanding that these people don't change, they only deteriorate over time, that is instrumental, that's key. That's what most people can't wrap their head around or figure out. That's why many people continue to give the narcissist chances over and over and over again, expecting a different result. That different result will never happen. Before I close the video, think of how many opportunities or chances you gave the narcissist to apologize and mean it, to say that they were sorry, to introspect, to heal, and to improve their life. You gave them countless chances, way too many. And now you realize that these people can't change. Who can change? You can change. And you are the key. You are the master of your destiny. The future is bright without the narcissist. The future exists with you in it, elevating higher than the sun, the moon, and the stars, without toxicity around your neck, without toxicity around your ankles or your waist. You see, the narcissist did their best job to take you down, but they failed. They failed miserably, and that's why you're here. That's why you're getting your cup full. So could you have done more? Could you have stayed in the relationship longer? Yeah, you probably could have, but your instincts were kicking in. Your body was falling apart. Your clarity was destroyed. Your mindset was nowhere to be found. And the person that claimed that they loved you, the person that perhaps you loved, turned out to be your worst enemy. They weren't your best friend. They were your worst enemy. And they know it, and I know it, and now you know it. So the path is to sincerely remove yourself from these people, slow your life down, heal, move forward, and reach the pinnacle of indifference. I love you all. God bless you. From the beautiful Carolinas, this is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon, evening, or morning, no matter where you are on the planet. You are not alone. Remember that. You are not alone. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Understand something. Could you have stayed in the relationship longer? Yeah, you could have. We all could have. But something happened. Something broke. Something snapped in your relationship. Whether you were discarded or you ended it yourself, either way, my heart goes out to you. But the point is, something changed. And that is a good thing. It may not feel like it now, but when you heal and you heal properly, you'll understand that there was no other way. You had to go through that relationship. And yes, that relationship was going to end. And yes, when it ended, that's how it had to end. There was no other way. That is why the narcissist just goes on as if you never existed and as if that relationship never took place. That is why they paint the narrative of the past any which way they want to get new people to fall into the relationship with them. And that's why you need to heal. That's why the narcissist can't heal, because there's nothing for them to heal from. That's why you have to heal, and you have to really take this seriously. And you need to understand that you are the priority. You come first, second, and third. I love you all. God bless you. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.